I used to think my whole life fit inside a 27-inch curved monitor. The world outside could be falling apart. Traffic, bills, drama. But once I put on my headphones and the neon lights of my gaming room flickered on, it felt like everything snapped into focus. My name is Ria Moss, but most people online call me Ria Moss or just Ria. I'm 29, a full-time streamer, and up until 2 months ago, the shot caller for Valkyrie Hex, one of the top 10 competitive esports teams in North America. The story I'm about to tell you isn't the shiny version you see in highlight reels or polished tournament promos. This is the ugly one. The one where someone you trust slides a knife between your ribs. Digitally, of course, but trust me, it hurts just the same. Setting. Present-day Los Angeles, California. I live in a small apartment in downtown LA, crammed between a bubble tea shop and a tattoo studio. Every night, the glow from the street mixes with my LED lights, blasting pink and blue across my walls. My streaming setup is my temple. 3 cameras, a mixer board, ring lights, a green screen, and a mic I babied like it was a newborn. And yet, it only takes one person to ruin everything. That person was Blitz. Real name Noah Bennett, my teammate of 3 years. Fast, charismatic, annoyingly handsome in a way that made teenage fans spam heart emojis. People loved him. I used to trust him more than anyone on the team. Past tense. Right. The first sign, something was wrong. It started during a ranked scrim, one we were supposed to win easily. As soon as I launched my stream, the audio desynced. My game froze twice. My camera glitched like a bad VHS tape. My ping shot from 18 to 101 in the middle of a fight. Hold on, chat, something's off, I muttered, forcing a smile as thousands of viewers watched me crumble. My shot calls were delayed. My reaction time slowed. I looked incompetent. When the match ended, the scoreboard flashed across the screen. Ria Moss, 3 kills, 11 deaths. Humiliating. My chat exploded with comments. Ria, WTF happened? Is she washed? Did she forget how to play? Blitz carried as usual, LOL. My cheeks burned so hot I thought the ring light might melt. I closed the stream and slumped back in my chair, heart hammering. I checked my settings. My bitrate was changed, my encoder switched, my sensitivity lowered, and my camera filters disabled. Someone had tampered with everything, but I wasn't ready to believe it. I told myself I probably misclicked, maybe updated something accidentally. I wanted to believe it was my fault, because the alternative felt unthinkable. The betrayal hits hard. 2 days later, the rookies from our academy team suddenly started using the exact same strategies from my private coaching notes. Notes only I had access to. Notes that lived only on a password-locked folder. I confronted Blitz in our team Discord right after practice. Hey, did you share anything from our sessions? I asked casually. His camera flickered on. He leaned back with that lazy grin of his. Why would I? You're the queen of overthinking. Maybe you just misplaced something? Something in my chest tightened. This isn't funny, Noah. He tilted his head. Relax, Ria, you're acting paranoid. The way he said paranoid made my skin crawl. Later that night, still unsettled, I checked my drive access logs. There it was. A login from an unknown device. From the Valkyrie Hex Team House Network. At 3:14 a.m. My stomach dropped. My hands shook. I felt nauseous. It wasn't an accident. Someone had gone out of their way to sabotage me. And the only person awake at that hour in the team house was Blitz. Ow. Emotional collapse. I remember sitting there in the dark, staring at my monitor as tears blurred the screen. Why would he do this? We were teammates, friends. I covered for him when he was late, defended him when management complained. I convinced the coach not to bench him last season. Now he was ruining my rankings, my streams, my career, and worse, my reputation. Online reputation in esports is fragile. One whisper, one rumor, one bad clip, and your name sinks faster than a glitchy server. I felt dirty, violated, like someone had walked into my home and torn down everything I built. And yet, I didn't say anything public. Not yet. I was scared people would think I was being dramatic. Or worse, that I was jealous of Blitz's rising popularity. So I swallowed it, all of it, until it started eating me from the inside out. A Valkyrie. The final trigger. One Friday night, I logged into my stream to find a clip circulating. Me freezing, lagging, missing shots. All edited with mocking sound effects. The caption read, The fall of Ria Moss. It had been uploaded from an account linked to Blitz's burner email. That was the moment something in me snapped, loud and sharp like a cracked bone. The embarrassment washed over me first, then the humiliation, then finally, a cold, controlled anger I didn't even know I was capable of. If Blitz wanted to turn my career into a joke, fine. But he had no idea who he was messing with. I clicked into my files, pulling up every match replay, every log, every timestamp I had ever kept. Finger trembling, I whispered to myself, "They want sabotage? I'll give them truth." I started gathering evidence. And that's when I discovered something I absolutely was not supposed to find. A file buried in the team server. A folder labeled Hex Removal Plan. My name was inside. Under Phase 2. Cliffhanger ending for Part 1. That was the moment I realized this wasn't just Blitz. This was bigger, much bigger. And the next file in the folder? It contained something that would blow everything wide open. My entire body went cold as I opened it, and what I saw made me gasp out loud. The file opened with a soft click, but the sound might as well have been a gunshot. Inside the folder, neatly organized like a corporate PowerPoint, were subfiles labeled Phase 1, Undermine, Phase 2, Replace, Ria, Phase 3, Rebrand Hex. I felt my throat tighten. My name was everywhere, highlighted, underlined, circled. But it was the document under Phase 2 that made my stomach twist. Assessment. Ria's deteriorating performance and emotional instability require immediate restructuring. Emotional instability? Deteriorating performance? I winced as if the words themselves slapped me. Scrolling further, I found a bullet point that made my blood run cold. Collect footage showing Ria underperforming. Encourage public narrative that she is struggling mentally. My pulse roared in my ears. This wasn't just sabotage, it was character assassination. And the signature at the bottom? Not Blitz. It was Coach Ramsey, our head coach. The man who recruited me, mentored me, promised he'd protect my lane in the industry. My hand flew to my mouth. I suddenly felt like the room was shrinking. Why would he do this? Was Blitz just the attack dog? Was I always the target? Oh, the confrontation that wasn't. The next morning, I went to the team house. Not to scream, although every molecule in my body wanted to. I went to observe, to see who was involved. I parked my car across the street, hood pulled up, sunglasses on. It was barely 8 a.m., and LA was already simmering. Inside, through the glass windows, I saw them, Ramsey and Blitz at the kitchen counter. Blitz looked half asleep, eating cereal straight out of the box. Ramsey was holding a tablet, scrolling. I wished I could hear them. But then Blitz laughed. I could see it clearly. A smug smirk, a gesture like mimicking someone panicking on stream. That someone was me. Ramsey smirked back. I swallowed hard. I wasn't paranoid. I wasn't imagining things. They were planning my collapse. And they thought it was funny. Fear turns into focus. For a moment, fear wrapped around my ribcage so tightly I could barely breathe. What if they already had more footage? What if they were already talking to sponsors? What if tournament officials had been quietly warned about my instability? This could kill my career. Everything I worked for since high school, everything I sacrificed, sleep, relationships, sanity. But then something inside me shifted. I wasn't powerless. I knew how to analyze match data better than anyone on the team. I knew where logs were kept. I knew which settings Blitz changed because he wasn't smart enough to hide his tracks. I knew every microphone delay, every ping spike, every inconsistency. For years, I'd been the backbone of strategy. Now I would become the backbone of truth. Gathering the evidence. For the next week, I lived like a ghost. I streamed just enough to seem active, but off camera, I turned my apartment into a forensic lab. Match replays? Downloaded. Chat logs? Screenshotted. Server access logs? Cross-referenced. Audio glitches? Time-stamped. I mapped every instance of suspicious lag, every setting change, every login from the Teamhouse network. But the most damning evidence was what I found on the server's backend. A log showing Blitz accessing my streaming presets remotely. 3 times. The same nights my streams glitched. And the IP address? 1 digit off Ramsey's. They weren't even trying to hide it. Meanwhile, comments and whispers online got worse. Ria is burning out. Ria's lost her touch. Maybe Valkyrie Hex needs a new IGL. Every sentence stabbed a little deeper. But the deeper it stabbed, the clearer my mission became. I wasn't just going to defend myself, I was going to expose the rot inside the team, and I was going to do it publicly. Amhe, the unexpected ally. 3 days into my evidence-gathering crusade, I received a DM from someone I didn't expect. Ria Lane, a mid-tier streamer who always skirted drama but had a reputation for being brutally honest behind the scenes. Her message was short. Heard something weird about Hex. Check your whispers. I frowned. What whispers? I opened my stream platform's moderation panel and scrolled. There it was. A mod note flagged. User claiming Blitz leaks data from team folders. The user? A burner account. But the writing style felt familiar. Too formal, too structured. It hit me. It was probably someone inside the team. Maybe a rookie, maybe a support role, someone who felt guilty, someone who couldn't risk speaking openly. So I messaged Aria back. Do you know who it is? She replied instantly, no. But whoever they are, they're scared. And if Hex is planning something bigger, you don't have much time. My chest tightened. I typed back, why are you helping me? This time she took longer to answer. Because I've seen what happens to women in this industry when they're pushed out. Because you didn't deserve this. And because someone needs to fight back. Her message ended with, if you're going to expose them, do it soon. Her words lit a fuse inside me. The decision. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat in my chair, legs pulled to my chest, staring at my monitors. Outside, the LA night hummed with sirens and low bass from passing cars. Inside, my screens glowed with evidence. A digital battlefield, my battlefield. I whispered to myself, if they want to destroy me quietly, I'll take them down loudly. My revenge wouldn't be a rant. It wouldn't be a messy call-out. It would be strategic, calculated, undeniable. A public data dump, followed by a full analysis stream, followed by a call for industry reform. And that was just the beginning. Because once my story hit the community, once people saw the truth, I wasn't just going to defend my name. I was going to start something bigger, something that would expose the toxicity buried under the shiny surface of esports. A movement, a network, an alliance of streamers tired of being manipulated. But first, I had to test whether the world was ready for the truth. I moved the mouse, hovered over the file that had started it all. Hex removal plan. My finger trembled as I clicked upload. And that's when my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Stop now. You don't know what you're getting into. For a moment I froze. But then the typing dots appeared. And the next message hit like a punch. If you go public, Phase 3 begins. Cliffhanger ending for Part 2. Phase 3? I hadn't opened that file yet. My heart pounded as I clicked back into the server folder, scrolling to the last document. The title made my blood turn to ice. Phase 3, full extraction. Extraction of what? Of who? My hand shook as I double-clicked the file. And the first line on the page, it made me gasp so loudly it echoed in my empty apartment. The file loaded slowly, as if the server itself hesitated to reveal what was inside. At first, all I saw were lines of black text on a white background. Simple, clinical, but unmistakably sinister. Phase 3, full extraction. Below it, a subtitle. Objective, secure total narrative control by removing Ria from all competitive, sponsorship, and public-facing roles. I blinked. Removed from everything? My chest tightened as I read on. Action steps. Contact sponsors to suggest Ria is unstable and unsuitable for ongoing brand campaigns. Leak controlled stories to community forums describing team tension and leadership dysfunction. Transition Blitz into the position of official IGL with full marketing push. Prepare documentation to justify contract non-renewal. Initiate extraction, sever Ria's relationship with Hex, and isolate her from industry networks to prevent retaliation. My hands went cold. Isolate me? Prevent retaliation? They weren't just trying to replace me. They were trying to erase me. The next paragraph was worse. Expected outcome. Within 4-6 weeks, Ria's career trajectory should decline significantly, reducing risk of public backlash. Community sentiment will shift toward accepting her departure. Decline significantly. Shift sentiment, I whispered, barely audible. They were planning my downfall like a marketing rollout. This wasn't a betrayal, this was a dismantling. And then I saw the final line. It was short, chilling, and highlighted in red. Status, in progress. My breath caught, not planned, not upcoming, already happening. Something breaks inside me. I pushed back from my desk and paced the room. The air felt too thick. My heart hammered against my ribs like it was trying to escape. So that was it. Coach Ramsey wasn't just complicit. He was orchestrating everything. Blitz wasn't just a jerk. He was the face of the takeover. And the rookies? They were being fed scripts the same way Blitz had been. I wasn't dealing with pettiness. I was dealing with a system. A system that decided I was unstable, so they could justify discarding me. A system that wanted my silence. A system that expected me to disappear quietly. A bitter laugh escaped my throat. They really didn't know me at all. My resolve hardens. I sat back down and stared at the screen. The evidence in front of me was enough to blow the entire structure apart. But evidence alone wasn't enough. This industry didn't move on truth. It moved on influence, timing, and spectacle. So if they wanted to play dirty, I would play undeniable. I needed allies, visibility, a plan that couldn't be twisted or silenced. I opened a blank document and typed at the top, Project Clean Light. A name for my mission, a beacon, a signal flare. Bullet points followed. Compile all digital proof. Use match data to demonstrate sabotage. Contact fair play watchdog groups. Coordinate with trustworthy streamers. Build anti-toxicity network launch plan. Prepare public analysis stream. Time the reveal for maximum impact. I stared at the list, adrenaline coursing through me. This isn't revenge, I whispered. This is reclamation. Then I added one last bullet point. Don't let fear stop you again. A dangerous warning. At 2:14 a.m., just as I finished compiling video logs, my apartment lights flickered. Once, twice, 3 times. The hair on my arms rose. A power surge or something else? Then my monitor froze. A moment later, a message appeared across the screen. This is your only warning. I jerked upright. It wasn't from Discord, not from SMS, not from any app I recognized. Then right under it, we see what you're doing. My stomach dropped. Someone had breached my system. Someone with access. Someone who knew what files I was viewing. Someone who worked with Ramsey. I scrambled to disconnect my PC, but before I could, a third message appeared. Phase 3 moves ahead immediately. And then my entire setup shut down. Darkness swallowed the room. I sat frozen in my chair, heart racing. My system had never been hacked. Not like that, not directly. This wasn't a script kiddie, this wasn't a fan. This was someone inside Hex with admin-level access. And they wanted me terrified. But instead of fear, something hotter rose in me. Fury. You want to threaten me in my own home? I whispered into the dark. All right, you just lit the fuse. The silent ally reaches out. At 3:01 a.m., my phone buzzed. A DM from the anonymous burner who had whispered earlier. They know you accessed Phase 3. I froze. Who are you? I typed back. A long pause. Then, someone who thought they were doing the right thing. Until I realized what Ramsey planned. Another message followed. You need to meet me. I tensed. Meet? Wouldn't that be dangerous? I typed, why should I trust you? The reply came instantly. Because I'm the one who delayed the extraction process. You'd already be off the roster if I hadn't interfered. My breath caught. This person had saved me, even if only temporarily. Then another message. If you want proof, I'll give it to you. But not online. They're monitoring everything. I chewed my lip, pulse pounding. This could be a trap, a lure, another setup, or it could be the only chance to uncover the full truth. I typed, where? The answer came. Parking lot behind the old esports arena. Midnight tomorrow. Come alone. I stared at my phone. The old arena had been closed for months. No cameras, no staff. Too perfect for a setup, too dangerous to ignore. But my instinct whispered something else. Something I couldn't explain. This person might be the key. Preparing for the meeting. The next day I barely streamed. My mind was too full of possibilities, too wired to focus. Instead, I prepared. I backed up every piece of evidence to 3 separate locations. I encrypted my files. I left a note with Area Lane, coded, subtle, letting her know where I'd be in case of emergency. By evening, my nerves were electric. If this meeting was real, I could finally identify my hidden ally. If it was a trap, well, I wasn't walking in blind. I slipped a portable microphone into my jacket, one that streamed audio directly to a secure cloud folder. I wasn't just hunting for truth. I was building a failsafe. At 11:49 p.m., I stood in my apartment doorway, hoodie up, keys in hand. This was the moment stories usually warned you about. The moment characters made a choice that changed everything. I locked the door behind me. "I'm not the one who should be scared," I whispered. Then I drove into the night. Cliffhanger ending for part 3. At 11:58 p.m., I parked behind the old arena. The air was cold, unnaturally still. A lone figure stood by the far wall, hood pulled low, hands in pockets. As I approached, they lifted their head slightly. And when I saw who it was, my entire world tilted. The figure stepped out of the shadows. And for a moment, my brain refused to process what my eyes were seeing. It wasn't a rookie, it wasn't a staff member, it wasn't a stranger. It was Lena Cross, my former teammate, my former best friend. The person who left Valkyrie Hex a year ago after a mutual disagreement with management. Except now, looking into her eyes, wide, nervous, flicking around as if expecting someone to pounce, I realized something. Her departure hadn't been mutual at all. "Ria," she whispered, pulling her hood lower. "We have to talk quickly. They might already know I'm here." My throat tightened. "Lena? What the hell? Why you? Why now?" She swallowed, stepping closer. "Because I've been where you are, and I didn't want to watch them destroy you the way they destroyed me." A shiver crawled down my spine. Destroyed her? Like they were trying to destroy me? I inhaled slowly, bracing myself. "Start talking." The hidden truth about Lena. Lena glanced around once more, then leaned against the cracked concrete wall. When I left Hex, the official story was that I burned out, that I lost motivation, but that wasn't true. I crossed my arms. Then what really happened? She lifted her eyes to mine, and what I saw there wasn't anger. It was regret. "They sabotaged me too," she said quietly. "Ramsey and Blitz." My blood ran cold. Ramsey said my mechanical skill was slipping. He told the sponsors I couldn't handle pressure. Suddenly, my clip started glitching, my aim desynced, my game settings reset between matches. She exhaled shakily. "I didn't realize it until months later. But what they're doing to you? It's the exact same pattern." My stomach twisted so hard it hurt. "You're telling me they pushed you out on purpose?" "Yes." She didn't hesitate. "And then they used your departure to justify giving Blitz more visibility. Same as they're doing now." I clenched my fists. This wasn't one betrayal. This was a cycle. A machine that chewed up players and spat them out when they threatened Blitz's spotlight. Or Ramsey's control. "And you never said anything?" I asked. Lena's jaw tightened. "I tried. I collected proof, but before I could release it, they threatened my family." I froze. "What?" "My younger brother worked as a part-time editor for a Hex-sponsored channel. They told him he'd never work in the industry again if I leaked anything." The words hit like a punch. "They scared me into silence, Ria, and I hate myself for it." Her voice cracked. "I saw the warning signs happening to you, but I didn't know how to reach out without putting us both in danger." I swallowed hard, fighting the surge of anger and fear rising inside me. "So why reach out now?" "Because Phase 3 isn't just a PR smear," she said quietly. "It's a wipeout, total erasure. They're planning to blacklist you from the competitive scene." My breath caught. Blacklisted, not just kicked from Hex, completely cut off. My heart pounded painfully against my ribs. "And Blitz?" I asked bitterly. "He's fine with this?" Lena laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. "Blitz is Ramsey's puppet. Ramsey feeds his ego, tells him he's the future star of NA esports. Blitz will do anything for attention. Ramsey will do anything for power." The pieces clicked together like toxic puzzle parts. This wasn't ego. This wasn't rivalry. This was systematic manipulation, sabotage, a pattern, a strategy. I felt heat rising in my chest. Not fear this time, but rage. Sharp, controlled, focused. "Lena," I said softly, "I'm not going down the way they want. I'm not disappearing." She nodded. "Good, because I didn't come here just to warn you." She reached into her jacket and pulled out a small USB drive. "This contains everything I collected before I was pushed out. Logs, emails, access timestamps, even a recording." My breath hitched. "A recording of what?" She hesitated. "Of Blitz and Ramsey discussing who they'd remove next." A jolt shot through my spine. "Who?" I whispered. Lena swallowed. "You." Agwidi. The recording. We crouched behind a battered dumpster, Lena shielding the USB drive from the wind as I plugged it into my portable reader. The audio crackled to life. Blitz's voice came first, cocky, casual. She's slipping, dude. Chad is already clowning her. We can spin this. Then Ramsey, calm and calculating. Good. If we undermine her leadership and shift public perception, sponsors will pressure her themselves. She'll walk away before we even bench her. My hand shook. Blitz laughed. So she's next on the removal list? Ramsey replied, yes, after that, we rebrand Hex around you. And no one will question it. My fingers curled around the reader so tightly it hurt. Lena placed a hand on my arm. There's more. Keep listening. Ramsey continued. If she tries to fight back, we'll leak her instability records. Make sure she's isolated, blacklisted. Then Blitz. Easy. People already think she's emotional. Something in me shattered, something fragile and human. But under that, and stronger than anything, was fire. They thought they could shape the narrative, control my story, pre-write my downfall. But now I had proof. The turning point. Lena wiped her eyes. I know I should have come sooner. I know I should have. I grabbed her hand. No, you're here now. That's what matters. She nodded, trembling. What are you going to do, Ria? I inhaled slowly, letting the cold night air anchor me. I'm going to burn their plan to the ground. Lena stared. How? I don't just have data anymore, I said, voice steady. I have their blueprint, their pattern, their motives, and a witness. Lena blinked. Me? Yes, and anyone else they've silenced. I'm going to start a movement, an anti-toxicity network, a support system for players who've been manipulated or sabotaged. And once I release everything publicly, I looked toward the distant skyline. Hex won't be able to bury me. They'll be too busy trying to dig themselves out. Lena exhaled shakily. I'll help, she said. Whatever you need. I squeezed her hand. Thank you. The sudden interruption. But before either of us could speak again, thud! A sound echoed from the far end of the parking lot. We froze. Another thud, heavier, closer. The hairs on the back of my neck lifted. Lena whispered, They found us. I grabbed the USB. Run? But then, light, not from a flashlight, from a phone screen. Someone else stepped into view. Someone I never expected to see. A third person, a silhouette, standing between us and the only exit. As they raised their head and the light caught their face, my stomach dropped. It was someone from Hex, someone very close to Ramsey. And the look in their eyes told me one thing. They weren't here to talk. They were here to stop us. The person stepped fully into the glow of their phone screen, and the sight of their face hit me like a punch. Mila Torres, Hex's operations coordinator, Ramsey's right hand, the one who managed schedules, handled sponsor communication, and controlled access to the team house and its systems. Of all people, it had to be her. Lena, she said coldly, you just couldn't stay gone, could you? Lena stiffened beside me. Her breath hitched. Mila, please don't do this. Mila tilted her head, expression unreadable. You were supposed to disappear quietly. Both of you. A chill crept down my spine. I stepped in front of Lena instinctively. Mila, we're not hurting anyone. We're uncovering the truth. Her mouth curled. That's the problem. An ultimatum in the dark. Mila slipped her phone into her coat. For a moment, the darkness swallowed her face. Only the faint glow of a distant streetlight outlined her silhouette. You should have stayed in your lane, Ria, she said. Ramsey warned you. My jaw clenched. Threatening me won't fix what you've done. Her eyes flashed. Fix? You think we're the ones who need fixing? Lena stepped forward, voice trembling but fierce. We know what you did to me, Mila, and now you're doing it to Ria. Mila didn't even blink. We did what we had to do. What you had to? I hissed. You sabotaged our careers. You used personal data. You manipulated our streams, our reputations, our lives. Because that's the only way to keep Hex alive, Mila snapped. Do you think you're the only talented players out there? The org needed a reset. Ramsey gave it one. I stared at her, stunned. This wasn't loyalty. This was delusion. Dangerous delusion. So your plan is what? I asked. To blackmail anyone who threatens Blitz's brand? To erase anyone who questions Ramsey? She crossed her arms. Exactly. The word echoed in the cold air. The attempted shutdown. I took a slow breath. Mila, you can walk away. You can help us instead. She stared at me, almost pityingly. Help you? She scoffed. After you dug into Phase 3, after you poked around the server, after you exposed Lena's involvement. Lena tensed. You saw the logs? Of course I did, Mila said. I see everything. Her gaze turned razor sharp. You're done, Ria. Ramsey already sent out the sponsor reports. The instability narrative is in motion. Blitz is preparing his announcement stream tomorrow. I felt my pulse spike. Tomorrow? They weren't wasting time. Mila continued, voice like steel. And the second you post any so-called exposé, we'll release everything we have on you. Every clip moment, every manipulated file we prepared. The community will eat you alive. Lena gasped. You're monsters. Mila's eyes narrowed. No, we're survivors. She reached into her coat. My breath lodged in my throat. Was she pulling a weapon? A phone? A recording device? I didn't know. Until she pulled out a signal jammer. Small, metallic, blinking with a red LED. My stomach dropped. She flipped the switch. Every phone in the area instantly lost service. Bars disappeared. My portable microphone went dead. We're done talking, Mila said. Hand over the USB. Stand off in the shadows. I stepped back, gripping the drive so tightly it dug into my palm. No, I said firmly. Her expression hardened. Ria, don't make this worse for yourself. This is already worse, I fired back, because I finally see what Hex really is. Lena tugged my sleeve. Ria, we have to go. But Mila blocked our only exit. You're not leaving with that drive. We have backups, I lied. Her eyes flicked just barely. A crack in her confidence. Lena caught it too. Yeah, Mila, think this is the only copy? You think we're stupid? Mila hesitated, only for a fraction of a second, but enough to prove we were right to gamble. I inhaled deeply. Let me ask you something, Mila, I said slowly. If you were so confident Ramsey was right, why are you the one here? Alone? Chasing us in a parking lot? She stiffened. I pressed on. Why is a whole esports organization relying on secret files, sabotage, and fake narratives, if Blitz is really strong enough to stand on his own? Her jaw clenched. Shut up! Why is Hex's future star only rising because other players are knocked down first? I said shut up. But the more I spoke, the more her facade cracked. Why does Ramsey need to erase people to maintain control? Why do you have to clean up the mess? Her voice finally cracked. Because someone has to keep this team alive. The echo faded. Silence followed. Deep, heavy, breaking her composure completely. Lena whispered, Mila, you know this isn't survival, this is abuse. Mila squeezed her eyes shut, shaking her head. It doesn't matter, none of it matters. Give me the USB and walk away. I looked at Lena. Lena looked at me. We made the decision simultaneously. Run, I whispered. We bolted. Halagadi. The chase. Gravel scattered under our feet as we sprinted toward the gap between the loading dock and the fence. Behind us. Stop! Mila's voice cut through the night. Then footsteps, sharp, fast, getting closer. Go left, Lena hissed. We veered toward a narrow path along the back of the arena. My heart slammed against my ribs. Cold air burned my lungs. We turned the corner, only to freeze. A tall metal gate blocked the exit, rusty, locked, unmovable. Oh no, Lena breathed. Footsteps pounded behind us. Closer, closer. We pressed our backs to the gate, breath shaking. Mila rounded the corner, panting, fury blazing in her eyes. You can't outrun Hex, she growled. You can't outrun me. She stepped forward. One step, two. I clutched the USB. Lena braced beside me. Mila reached into her jacket again. I flinched. But instead of a weapon, she pulled out something else. A keycard. She swiped it against a panel hidden behind a metal plate. A faint click echoed. The gate behind us unlocked. I stared, stunned. What are you doing? Her jaw tightened. You won't give me the USB, she said quietly. And maybe you shouldn't. Lena and I exchanged a confused look. Mila stepped closer, and for the first time her voice trembled. I don't want to be part of this anymore. My breath caught. You're switching sides? She shook her head. It's not about sides, it's about survival. And Ramsey crossed a line even I can't defend. What line? I whispered. She swallowed hard. He activated Phase 4. I blinked. Phase 4? There was only supposed to be 3 phases, Lena said shakily. Mila looked at us with deep, haunted eyes. Not anymore. Cliffhanger ending for Part 5. Before we could ask another question, a car engine roared nearby. Headlights whipped toward us. A black SUV turned the corner, accelerating fast, barreling straight toward the gate. Mila's eyes widened. They're here. The SUV didn't slow down. It was aiming directly at us. The black SUV came at us fast, too fast. Headlights blazing, engine roaring, tires slicing across broken asphalt. Lena screamed. I grabbed her wrist and yanked her backward just as the SUV slammed into the metal gate. Boom! The gate ripped off its hinges, skidding across the ground like a massive steel coin. Sparks shot up. Dust exploded into the air. The impact threw all three of us backward. I hit the pavement hard, my elbow scraping raw. Spots burst across my vision. For a second, everything was just ringing. Then, footsteps. Heavy, urgent, multiple people. I forced my eyes open. 2 men in dark jackets jumped out of the SUV. Not fans, not random attackers. These were Hex operatives. Contracted security Ramsey always bragged about, but never officially acknowledged. Find the drive, one barked. Ramsey wants it now. My blood iced. Lena crawled toward me, coughing. Mila staggered to her feet, clutching her arm. Go, she hissed. Run now, before they... But it was too late. One of the men spotted us. There, grab them. The desperate escape. I didn't think I reacted. My hand shot to the USB in my pocket. Still there. I pulled Lena up. Come on! The three of us bolted down the alley behind the arena. The operatives sprinted after us, boots pounding like war drums. This way, Mila shouted, veering left. We followed her through a narrow, fenced-in pathway that reeked of rust and rainwater. The alley was so tight our shoulders brushed the walls. Behind us, a voice yelled, They're cornered. Cut them off. My pulse surged. Panic clawed at my ribs. We burst out into a small service yard behind the arena. A chain-link fence blocked one end, a dumpster blocked the other. Dead end. Oh no, Lena whispered. The footsteps got louder. Closer. I scanned frantically. There had to be something. Then I saw it. A loose section of fence held together by a cheap zip tie. Mila, I pointed, help me pull this. We crashed into the fence, ripping at the tie, the metal groaning under our weight. Hurry, Lena pleaded. I could hear the operatives rounding the corner, and then, snap. The zip tie broke. The fence peeled open just enough for us to squeeze through. We stumbled onto the sidewalk, lungs burning, adrenaline surging. Keep moving, Mila urged. We sprinted across the street as the operatives slammed into the fence behind us, shaking it violently. They're through, someone shouted. Indeed, the narrow escape. We ducked behind parked cars, weaving through them as fast as our legs allowed. I nearly fell twice, my legs trembling from fear and exhaustion. There, Lena gasped, the metro entrance. A stairway leading underground, crowded, public, noisy. A perfect place to disappear. We plunged down the steps just as the operatives emerged onto the street. One of them spotted us, yelling into his radio. Target descending to Metro Platform B. We have visual. My pulse spiked. We shoved past people, muttering apologies, racing through the turnstiles. Mila led us into a corner behind a column. Hide here. If we board separately, they won't know who has the drive. I nodded, chest heaving. We need to split? For now, she whispered. Just until we lose them. Footsteps thundered down the stairs. We ducked even lower. 2 operatives scanned the platform, eyes sweeping everywhere. One brushed so close to us I could smell cologne and gun oil. A train screeched into the station. Doors slid open. Mila nudged us. Go, now blend in. We slipped into different cars. Me in the middle, Lena in front, Mila in the back. As the doors hissed shut, I held my breath. The operatives rushed forward, but the train pulled away. They were too late. For the first time in hours, I felt a sliver of relief, but it didn't last. Not when I saw who was standing at the other end of my train car. The unexpected encounter. A tall figure leaned against a pole, hood up, face shadowed. At first, I thought he was just another passenger. Then he lifted his head, and I froze. Blitz! He smiled faintly. Well, he said, voice echoing over the train noise. That was one hell of a chase. My blood ran cold. How did you... GPS, he said casually. Mila's device. Ramsey's brilliant when he wants to be. My stomach dropped. Mila gave us a way out, I snapped. She's not part of your twisted plan anymore. Blitz laughed softly. Oh, Ria. Mila doesn't get to choose her part. He took a step closer. Passengers around us were oblivious. Headphones on, eyes glued to phones, lost in their own worlds. Blitz lowered his voice. You could have walked away, retired, faded quietly. But you had to make noise. I exposed what you did. What we did, he corrected, shrugging. And honestly, it's impressive. You caused chaos. Ramsey's been yelling for hours. That makes me happy. His smile sharpened. I bet it does. But see, you don't get the ending you think you do. He slipped his hand into his pocket. I stiffened. What are you? He pulled out something small. A flash drive, an identical-looking one. This, he said, twirling it between his fingers, is the version we're going to release. Edited, curated, with just enough truth to look believable, and just enough lies to bury you alive. My heart thudded. You can't out-edit the data. I have the original. You think the community cares about original? Blitz scoffed. No, they care about speed. Whoever speaks first wins. And guess what? He raised the flash drive like a trophy. We're going first. I felt my stomach twist. You're insane. No, he whispered, stepping even closer. I'm untouchable. I glared at him. Not anymore. His eyes flicked downward toward my pocket, where my USB was, and then he grinned. Oh, good, he murmured. You do still have it. I froze. He lunged. Cliffhanger ending for part 6. I stumbled backward as Blitz grabbed my arm, reaching for the USB in my pocket. Passengers jolted, startled but confused, unsure whether to intervene. Let go, I shouted. Blitz tightened his grip. If I walk out of this train with that drive, he hissed, you're done. The train lurched. I lost my balance. And Blitz, still gripping me, pulled me with him toward the open space between the train cars. My heart stopped. He was trying to yank both of us into the gap. I clawed at his wrist, panic surging. The train sped through the tunnel, wind tearing at us, danger inches away. Behind us, someone screamed. But Blitz only smiled. Blitz's grip tightened like a steel trap, dragging me closer to the dangerous gap between the train cars. The wind from the speeding tunnel whipped at my hair, the roar of the tracks vibrating through my bones. One slip, one wrong movement, and we were both nothing more than a headline. Stop! I gasped, clawing at his arm. You're going to kill us! That depends, Blitz hissed, breath hot against my ear. Give me the drive. He yanked harder. My shoes scraped the metal floor as I struggled to pull myself away. The train rocked, tilting just enough to send panic slashing through my chest. No, I growled. I'm not letting you bury the truth. His smile was monstrous. Then I'll bury you instead. He shoved me backward toward the gap. I screamed. But before I could fall, a pair of hands yanked me sideways. Ria! It was Lena, bursting through the connecting door between the cars. She tackled Blitz with shocking force. The three of us slammed into the metal railings. Blitz lost his grip on me, stumbling back as Lena threw an elbow into his ribs. You psycho! She spat. You almost killed her. Blitz snarled and lunged at her. I staggered upright, adrenaline burning through me. The USB poked against my leg inside my pocket, still safe. But Lena wasn't safe. Blitz grabbed her by the collar and slammed her into the wall. Her head snapped back with a sickening thud. Lena! I shouted. Blitz drew back his fist, and something inside me snapped. I grabbed the nearest object I could, a fire extinguisher mounted by the door. With a surge of rage, I swung. Crack! The metal canister smashed into Blitz's shoulder, knocking him off Lena. He crumpled sideways, hissing in pain. Passengers screamed, scattering to the far end of the car. Blitz glared up at me, face twisted and wild. You want war? He spat. You have no idea what Ramsey's capable of. And you, I said, breathing hard, have no idea what I'm capable of. He lunged again, but this time I was ready. I sprayed the extinguisher straight into his face. A blinding cloud engulfed him. He shrieked, clawing at his eyes, stumbling blindly. The train screeched as it slowed into the next station. Doors opened. Go! Lena cried, grabbing my wrist. We bolted out of the car, racing past startled commuters. Blitz tried to follow, but he tripped over a bench, coughing violently. Security guards spotted the chaos. Hey, stop! What's going on? They yelled. We didn't stop. We tore through the station, up the stairs, out into the night air. Cold, sharp, lung-burning. We didn't stop running until we were 3 blocks away. Finally, we ducked into the shadows beside an abandoned storefront, bending over, gasping for breath. What just happened? Lena wheezed. I leaned against the wall, heart still slamming. Blitz. He completely lost it. He tried to throw me off the train. And he's not going to stop, Lena said, wiping sweat from her brow. Ramsey will send more people. This isn't over. I nodded, my whole body trembling. No, it's not. Mila calls. My phone buzzed. I froze until I remembered the signal jammer was gone. We were out of range. We had service again. Lena swallowed. Who is it? I turned the phone around. Mila flashed across the screen. My stomach twisted. I answered. Mila's voice was frantic. Where are you? Did Blitz reach you? Oh God, did he? He tried, I said, catching my breath. We escaped. Mila exhaled shakily. Thank God. Listen to me carefully. Ramsey knows everything. He knows you have Lena's evidence. He knows you're planning a broadcast. Lena stiffened. How? He accessed the Phase 4 files, Mila whispered. He has backups of your entire cloud storage. He has a watcher program tracking your uploads. If you try to post anything... What? I asked. Mila hesitated. Your accounts will auto-lock, your footage will be corrupted, and every platform will instantly receive DMCA claims. My blood froze. He's not trying to discredit you anymore, she said. He's trying to erase you from the internet entirely. My voice shook. Then how do we beat him? There's only one way, Mila said. You'll need to stream through a hidden unlisted network node Hex can't touch. And where do we find that? You don't, Mila said. I do. Meet me in 1 hour. My heartbeat thudded uncomfortably. Where? Silence. Then, the old broadcast studio under the retired esports arena. The one they shut down 5 years ago. I exchanged a look with Lena. That place has no power, she whispered. Mila's voice dropped. It does if you know which breakers still work. And I do. The walk toward truth. We moved carefully through the city, avoiding major streets. Every shadow felt like it hid an operative. Every intersection felt like a trap. When we finally reached the old arena, it loomed like a skeleton of its former glory. Rusted beams, cracked screens, a ghost of the esports world we once loved. Mila stood by a service door, hood up, shoulders tense. You made it, she breathed. Barely, I muttered. She unlocked the door. Inside, the air was stale, thick with dust and old memories. I can get you power, Mila said, leading us down a stairwell. I can get you signal. But once you stream this, there's no going back. I know. And Ramsey will throw everything he has at you. I know that too. She stopped in front of a metal door. This is it. Inside was an old production room. Faded monitors, broken chairs, ancient equipment. But the key piece, a legacy relay server, still sat in the corner. If you plug into this, Mila said, your broadcast bypasses Hex's systems entirely. They can't track it. They can't block it. Lena looked at me. This is your moment, Ria. I tightened my grip on the USB. No, I said softly. This is our moment. I sat at the dusty console and powered up the relay. The lights flickered, one by one. Green, green, green. The server hummed to life. My heart pounded. This was it. The moment to tell the world the truth. I reached for the cable to connect my laptop. And then a deafening clang echoed from behind us. We froze. Another sound. Heavy. Footsteps. Mila's face drained of color. No, 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 no. The door slammed shut. And from the other side, a familiar voice spoke. Cold, controlled. Step away from the console, Ria. My heart seized. Ramsey. Cliffhanger ending for part 7. He continued, voice dripping with authority. You've caused enough damage. Open this door, or I'll open it for you. Lena grabbed my arm. Mila stepped back in terror. I stared at the console. At the USB. At the door. And I whispered, we're out of time. Ramsey's voice reverberated through the metal door, steady, controlled, terrifying in its calmness. Ria, he said, open the door. We can resolve this without ruining your entire life. My pulse hammered in my ears. Lena clutched my sleeve. Mila backed away until her shoulders hit the far wall. Don't, Lena whispered. He's lying. Of course he was. Ramsey always lied smoothly, like someone who believed the world should shape itself around him. I stepped closer to the console, my fingers brushing the USB in my pocket. Ramsey continued. You think the truth will save you? It won't. You're unstable, emotional. The community already believes it. One push, and you fall. My jaw clenched. That's exactly why we're doing this, I muttered. Behind the door, I heard a faint metallic click. Tools? He was trying to unlock it. We didn't have much time. Ramsey's manipulation begins. Ramsey's tone shifted. Slow, persuasive, practiced. Think carefully, Ria. You have a future if you walk away from this. Hex can help you. We can spin this. Make you look sympathetic. Maybe even misunderstood. I felt sick. That's what you told me, Lena whispered bitterly. Right before you destroyed my career. Ramsey spoke louder. Lena, if you're in there, listen to me. You don't need to go down with her. You were always impulsive, emotional. We could still rehabilitate your image. Lena's face twisted with fury. He's framing us like we're broken toys, she hissed. Ramsey continued pounding on the door, each hit making the metal shudder. Let me in, Ria, he ordered. You have something of mine. I glanced at the server, at the console, at the blinking green lights. No, I whispered. This isn't yours anymore. A plan takes shape. Mila grabbed my arm. Ria, we have maybe 1 minute before he forces that door open. What about the side exit? Lena asked. Locked from outside, Mila said. We're trapped. Ramsey banged the door again, harder. My panic surged. Then something clicked in my head. The server, the relay, the broadcast. I turned to them. We don't have to escape. Lena blinked. What? We just have to go live before he gets in. Mila's eyes widened. He'll shut it down. He can't, I said. Not if I start the stream from here. This server bypasses everything Hex controls. Ramsey's voice cut through the metal again. Open the door. I swallowed hard. We're doing this now. Ascot. The last setup. I slammed the USB into the console. Lights blinked. The screen flickered. Old hardware groaned awake. I connected my laptop to the relay with trembling hands. Lena hovered beside me. How long does it take to go live? About 15 seconds, I said. Maybe less. Mila positioned herself by the door, bracing her weight against it. Suddenly, boom! The whole door jolted inward. Ramsey was using a battering tool. Hurry! Mila cried. The relay interface loaded. Another blow. And another. The hinges screeched. I clicked Connect Stream Source. The system whirred. Ramsey shouted. Ria, this is your last warning. Lena whispered, Ignore him, keep going. I selected the files, Lena's logs, my replays, the recordings, the sabotage timestamps. Another slam. The metal dented. Almost there. The relay prompted, Go leave? I hit yes. A loading bar appeared, initializing broadcast. Ramsey roared with fury. The door buckled. My breath caught. 10%, 22%, 35%, and the hinges bent. 52%, 70%, 41%. Lena grabbed my shoulder. Ria! I shook my head. We finished this. 93%. Then everything went black. The monitors, the server, my laptop, a full power kill. No! Mila gasped. He cut the building feed. He killed power. We were plunged into pitch darkness. Only one thing remained lit. A blinking red LED on the relay server. A faint hum. A backup battery. My heart slammed. The server's still alive, I whispered. But can it stream? Lena asked desperately. I knelt in front of it, checking the panel. A tiny label read, Emergency mode. 30 seconds of power remaining. 30 seconds. To expose everything. 30 seconds. Before Ramsey got through the door. 30 seconds. For my entire life. I reached for the manual switch. An old analog activation panel hidden behind dust and decades. The moment I touched it, Ramsey kicked the door again. The top hinge snapped. Mila cried out, straining to hold it. Ria, he's coming through! I flipped the switch. The relay server let out a deep mechanical whine, lights flickering violently. For a split second, the console monitor flashed back on. Live signal reactivated streaming. Mila screamed. He's in! The confrontation. The door tore open. Ramsey burst in, face twisted, eyes blazing with fury. You think you can win? He thundered. He grabbed the back of my laptop and hurled it across the room. Sparks flew. He stomped toward the relay. You are done. No, Lena shouted, blocking his path. Leave her alone. He shoved her aside brutally. I threw myself between him and the relay. You can't stop the truth anymore, I yelled. Ramsey reached for the power cable. but then froze because the relay monitor behind me flashed. Uploading evidence package. Signal locked, cannot interrupt. His face drained. What did you do? I stared right into his eyes. I hit auto upload. The moment the stream comes back online, the evidence goes public. Everything. Everywhere. Ramsey lunged at me, but Mila grabbed his arm from behind. Don't you dare touch her. He whirled on her. You helped them, he snarled. You betrayed Hex. She met his stare. No, you betrayed everyone. He shoved her away. The server beeped. Power remaining, so 5, 04, 03. Ramsey lunged. I screamed, but then the monitor flashed. Upload complete. The server shut down. Silence. Ramsey froze. Lena clapped a hand over her mouth. Mila whispered, "Oh my God, it worked." Ramsey stared at me. Horror, rage, disbelief twisting across his face. Ria, what have you done? I stood tall. I've given the world the truth. Ramsey's expression turned deadly. You just ended everything. He stepped toward me, slow, controlled, murderous. I backed up until my shoulders hit the wall. His shadow fell over me. You're coming with me, he whispered. Before I could react, a blinding flashlight flooded the room, and a voice shouted, "Put your hands where we can see them." Ramsey spun around. Footsteps thundered inside. Multiple voices, commands, authority. And then I saw them. Security, police, arena enforcement officers flooding into the room. Cliffhanger ending for Part 8. Ramsey raised his hand slowly, fury boiling beneath his skin. The lead officer pointed at me. Are you Ria Moss? He demanded. My heart lurched. Yes, I managed. You need to come with us immediately. I froze. Why? He stepped closer, expression unreadable. Because the moment your broadcast went live, something else went public too. What? He held up a tablet. The screen showed a headline. My stomach twisted, and the officer said, Hex isn't the only one you exposed. The officer held the tablet closer, its cold blue glow reflecting in the dust-filled air of the abandoned broadcast room. My hands were still shaking from Ramsey's attack, from the adrenaline, from the terror. But nothing prepared me for what I saw on the screen. A headline in bold, screaming letters. Massive esports cover-up. Leak reveals industry-wide sabotage network. And beneath it, multiple organizations implicated. Anonymous whistleblower traces root operations back 5 years. Possible federal investigation incoming. My breath caught. I didn't leak anything except Hex, I whispered. That's the problem, the officer said. Your broadcast server wasn't just connected to Hex's shadow nodes. It was connected to every legacy node ever linked to that network. My pulse hammered. You mean? Yes, he nodded grimly. Your upload triggered an automatic chain release. Every hidden archive, every buried file, every suppressed report linked to the system went public. The room spun. Lena clapped a hand over her mouth. Mila stumbled back, stunned. That means thousands of files. The officer continued. You didn't just expose Hex, you exposed half the industry. My legs nearly buckled. Baber. The fallout begins. Through the cracked windows above us, distant sirens wailed. The world outside was already shifting. My phone buzzed non-stop, messages exploding faster than I could read. Ria, holy crap, you're everywhere. Streamers are losing sponsorship deals right now. Bro coaches are panicking. Clean Light movement is trending #1 worldwide. Clean Light, the name of the project I scribbled in desperation days ago. It was everywhere now. I swallowed hard. Is this bad? The officer stared at me, then shrugged slightly. For some people, yes. For others, this is the reckoning they deserved. Ramsey snarled from where he was pinned by 2 security officers. You absolute idiot, he spat at me. Do you know what you've done? You've destroyed our industry. No, Lena shot back. You destroyed it. She just turned on the lights. Ramsey thrashed. You think the federal agents are coming for me? They're coming for her. She triggered it. The officer tightened his grip on Ramsey's wrists. The only person under arrest right now is you. You have no idea how deep this goes, Ramsey shouted. Actually, Mila said softly, I think we do. The transport. More officers entered, securing the room. One approached me with cautious professionalism. Ms. Moss, for your safety, we need to escort you to a secure location. There are thousands of people reacting to this leak in real time. You're trending in 112 countries. My stomach flipped. I didn't mean to expose everyone. But you did, he said, and right now that makes you a target and a protected witness. A protected witness. The words felt unreal. Lena stepped closer. Can I go with her? The officer shook his head. Only immediate witnesses to the Hex case. Mila raised her hand. Then I'm going. You're coming, the officer agreed. Ramsey identified you as an internal accomplice. That makes you relevant to the investigation. Ramsey spat on the floor. Traitor? Survivor, Mila corrected. They lifted Ramsey to his feet. He jerked his head toward me, eyes full of venom. This isn't over. One of the officers pushed him forward. Actually, it is. The ride into chaos. Minutes later, we were rushed into an armored transport van parked behind the arena. The city lights flickered across the windows as we drove. Lena watched us leave from the alley, crying, smiling, relieved, proud. I pressed my hand to the glass. Thank you, I mouthed. She nodded and disappeared from sight. Inside the van, Mila rubbed her arms anxiously. Ria, this is going to change everything. I know, I whispered. And I did. Because even inside the sealed van, I could hear the world reacting. Notification chimes from the officers' radios, buzzing phones, frantic chatter. A dispatcher announced updates. Multiple esports org servers compromised. Dozens of sponsors issuing statements. Anonymous whistleblowers coming forward. Federal investigation confirmed. I slumped back, overwhelmed. This wasn't supposed to spiral like this, I murmured. I just wanted to stop Hex. And you did, Mila said. You stopped Hex's control and maybe you started healing something bigger. I wasn't sure, but I hoped. The safe house. The van finally pulled up to a quiet building on the outskirts of the city. Smaller than I expected, heavily guarded. We'll keep you here until after the press briefing tomorrow, an officer said. You'll need to give a statement. My heart tightened. To who? The Federal Oversight Board, journalists, possibly even international compliance agencies. I swallowed, then stepped inside. The safe house was simple. Clean couches, metal tables, humming fans. Nothing glamorous, but safe. Mila and I sat on opposite sides of a small table. She stared at me for a long moment, then said, You know he's right in a way. Who? Ramsey. Nothing will be the same after this. I exhaled shakily. I know. She leaned in. But you didn't destroy the industry. You forced it to rebuild. Fairly, transparently. The old system needed to burn. I nodded slowly, but something still gnawed at me. Mila, that officer said something went public that wasn't part of our upload. She frowned. I assumed he meant the larger network leak. That's what I thought too, I said softly. But he looked disturbed. Mila's expression tightened. What do you think it was? I pulled out my phone. Notifications flashed endlessly, scrolling too fast to keep up. Then one alert caught my eye. A bold headline. My blood turned to ice. Mila leaned in. What is it? I forced the words out. It wasn't just sabotage files that leaked. What else? The full list of every hidden phase project connected to the network. Mila stiffened. How many phases are there? I scrolled, and scrolled, and scrolled. My voice trembled. Mila, there aren't 4 phases. There aren't 5. There are... But before I could finish, the lights in the safe house shut off. Every bulb, every monitor, every emergency light. Darkness swallowed the room. A heartbeat later, the window cracked. Crack! A laser-cut line sliced across the glass. Mila grabbed my arm. Ria. Footsteps approached outside. Multiple. Slow. Heavy. Deliberate. And a voice, distorted, mechanical, spoke from the darkness. Phase 12 initiated. Secure the asset. My breath stopped. Asset? Me. Cliffhanger ending for part 9. Mila pulled me back, but the safe house door splintered inward, metal tearing like cardboard. Masked figures entered, silent, armed, efficient. Not Hex, not police. Someone else entirely. One of them pointed at me. There, extract her. My heart pounded. They weren't here to kill me. They were here to take me. Darkness swallowed the room, broken only by the glowing line on the cracked window and the silhouettes of masked figures storming inside. Their movements were sharp, coordinated, too precise for esports security, too specialized for anything Hex could afford. These weren't hired thugs. They were a professional extraction team. and I was the target. Mila grabbed my arm. Ria, run! But there was nowhere to go. The safe house was a box. One entrance, one shattered window. The masked figures advanced, their boots silent against the concrete. The largest one lifted a gloved hand. Ria Moss, a distorted voice said. You're coming with us. Do not resist. My pulse thundered. No, I whispered. I'm done letting people control me. One reached for me. Mila lunged between us. Back off! In one effortless movement, the masked man shoved her aside. She crashed into a table, gasping. Mila! I ran to her, but a hand seized my shoulder. I twisted, fighting, kicking, clawing, but the grip tightened like a steel clamp. Stop, the voice repeated. We are authorized to use force. My panic spiked. Authorized by who? The figure hesitated, then answered. By the federal board overseeing the clean light spill. I froze. The government sent them? For your protection, the figure said. You must be secured before hostile parties reach you. Hostile? I looked to Mila, who was pushing herself up, trembling. Ria, they're not lying, she rasped. Do you hear that? In the distance, sirens, multiple, fast. Then another sound, a low rumble. Engines, several, approaching fast. My heart seized. Two forces were coming. One to take me, one to silence me. I turned back to the masked figure, breath shaking. If you want me safe, then let me walk out on my own terms. He paused. You don't understand the risk. Yes, I do, I said, voice steadying. The entire world is watching, and they're watching me. Not Hex, not Ramsey, me. I stepped closer, meeting the shadowed mask head on. And I will not disappear, not again. You want to secure me? Fine. But I walk out of here as myself, not an asset. A long silence. Then the figure nodded. Very well, but we must move now. Suddenly, boom! The safe house door exploded inward, ripped clean off its hinges. Another squad stormed in. Black jackets, Hex insignias, Ramsey's elite enforcers. Their leader raised a weapon. Take her! Mila screamed, Ria, down! I dove as laser-based stun rounds blasted across the room, cracking walls, sparking equipment. The federal extraction team pulled weapons too, sleek, compact, non-lethal tech, and chaos erupted. 2 organizations, 2 agendas, 1 prize, me. The escape through fire. Move! The lead federal agent barked, yanking me toward the back hallway. Mila followed. Behind us, stun rounds exploded against the walls. The agent threw a small disc onto the ground. It activated instantly. Boom! A wall of smoke burst upward, filling the room with thick gray cover. Stay low, Mila coughed. We crawled blind, the sound of shouting echoing behind us. I reached the hallway, but a Hex enforcer grabbed my ankle. I screamed and kicked wildly. He pulled harder, dragging me back into the smoke. No! Mila threw herself onto him, slamming her elbow into his visor. The grip loosened. I kicked again, hard. He fell back. The federal agent grabbed my arm. Go, out the back! We burst through the rear exit, straight into an alley lit by flashing police floodlights. Over here, another agent waved. We sprinted toward the armored vehicle, but the Hex SUV screeched into the alley from the opposite side. Doors flew open. Blitz jumped out, his eyes locked on me. You! He howled. You ruined everything! Mila stepped in front of me. You tried to kill her on a train. He raised a weapon, modified illegal. That was just attempt 1. He fired. I flinched. But the federal agent slammed into me, pushing us both behind the vehicle. Sparks tore through the air. Mila tackled Blitz from the side. They crashed onto the pavement. Ria, run! She screamed. I hesitated. I couldn't leave her. But Blitz was stronger. He shoved her off, pinning her to the ground. You think you can expose me? He roared. I am this industry. A rage I'd never felt surged through me. No, I said, stepping forward. You're the poison. Mila struggled beneath him, gasping. I grabbed the nearest object, a metal pipe fallen from construction debris, and swung with all the force in my body. Crack! Blitz's weapon flew from his hand. He staggered. I swung again. He hit the wall, sliding down, dazed. The federal agents rushed between us. Enough, everyone stand down. Blitz groaned, spitting blood. You think this ends your problems, Ria? Everyone out there wants a piece of you now. No one survives becoming the symbol. I stared at him, chest heaving. I didn't choose to be the symbol, I said, but I'll choose what it means. The aftermath. Minutes later, Hex operatives were restrained. Blitz was handcuffed, screaming threats. Police swarmed the alley. Sirens echoed. Journalists gathered outside the perimeter. Cameras flashed. And I was placed into a secure vehicle, not as a hostage, as a protected whistleblower. Inside, Mila sat beside me, bruised but alive. She squeezed my hand weakly. "You did it," she whispered. I stared through the window at the chaos we'd unleashed. "No," I said softly, "we did." "Ay dale." 1 week later, the world had changed. Hex was suspended indefinitely. Ramsey was in federal custody. Multiple orgs disbanded. Sponsors launched emergency audits. And the phrase, "the clean light movement," had become a global rallying cry. When I stepped on stage at the International Gaming Conference, flanked by investigators, reform advocates, and hundreds of players, there was no fear left, only clarity, only purpose. I took the microphone. "I'm not here to destroy esport, Deborah," I said. "I'm here to rebuild it. Fair, transparent, safe, for every player who was ever silenced. This movement is yours." Thunderous applause exploded. Lena was in the front row. Mila beside her. Tears filled my eyes. I wasn't alone. I never would be again. The final cliffhanger, ending beat, satisfying, open-ended. Later that night, back in my hotel room, I opened my laptop. A new email notification appeared. Anonymous sender. Subject line, "You expose the surface." But the deeper layers remain. My spine tingled. Inside the email was a single sentence. "When you're ready to uncover Phase 13, contact us." No signature, no clue, just coordinates. Deep in an unmarked district of Seoul. I sat back, exhaling slowly. The world wasn't cleaned yet. But now? Now I wasn't running. I wasn't hiding. I wasn't afraid. I was ready.